Welcome to another episode of So It's Not Just Me, the podcast where we explore the many ways our mental health can be affected by life's challenges and, most importantly, how we navigate through them. I'm your host, Joanna, and today we're going to be talking about the battles of PTSD after leaving the military. We're joined by Tom, who is going to share his personal journey and struggles he encountered while transitioning to civilian life and the steps he has taken to reclaim the life and mental well-being. So grab a cuppa, find a comfortable spot, and join us for this important conversation on So It's Not Just Me. Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I know we've been trying to
Mhm.
do this for a little while. I'm going to jump straight in and ask you a bit about yourself. And can you tell us a little bit about what you did in the military and what led you to join the military?
Um, Honestly, all the men in my family joined the military. I was in an Army ROTC when I was in high school, so about 3.5 years. So having that kind of knowledge before I met my father and that part of my family, I knew I kind of wanted to go in the military, and I actually was, I want to say, a freshman uh, in ROTC when the planes hit the World Trade Center. So it kind of was like, uh, not my calling card, I guess, but that's kind of what made me solidify my decision on joining the military.
A bit more of like a pull to it kind of thing. You wanted to do what's right.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool. Um, Forgive me, obviously I'm not from over here. What age is it when you're a freshman?
Um, I was 13. Typically, it's 14.
Oh,
I
okay.
was
So it's
supposed to
quite
graduate at 17. So,
right. So it's quite early on that you knew that that's what you wanted to do.
yeah.
That's cool. What branch of the military were you in?
Navy. We call ourselves we are called the Squids
Okay.
from other branches.
What kind of I know that obviously we're not going to jump straight into it as such, but at the same time I guess we should. Um how did you realize that you was experiencing PTSD once you left, or did you feel like you had it while you was in there still?
Um, I was only in for a little over 2 years. Basically, uh, part of the PTSD came from, ironically, being hazed and bullied by my superiors. Uh,
Oh wow.
so the type of job I specifically did um, was classified as undesignated. So I was able to um, more or less train in other fields and take an advancement slash placement exam to reclassify essentially. Um,
Okay.
so when I would get my evals and everything like that, um, you can't take the test without having a certain grade on your evaluation, and they won't accept you if it's below. Well, I've taken
Right.
several, well, I took two placement evaluations, um, and I passed one of them and got denied in front of everybody. That's essentially what made me want to quit. But that was part of the PTSD. Uh, at least that's what's coming from the doctor at the VA that actually classified me with PTSD.
Okay. Um Obviously I've never been in the military, let alone the military over here. Can you kind of explain a little bit what the evaluation was and what it entailed?
Oh, the evaluation. It's just a basic of character. It's
Oh, okay.
essentially like any evaluation you'd get at any job for a promotion.
Oh,
Um,
okay, okay.
how good you're doing at your job. Have you had any write ups or this, that, the other. It's pretty much 0 to I think a 4.0. That's kind of what your classification area is. So you need at least a 3.0 or better to take the evaluation. That's advancement exams. So to go to the next rank, mine was a double whammy. So I would have gotten the next rank and the new job essentially.
And they gave you these results in front of everyone?
No, okay. So you'd get the results,
Sorry.
and then you would know. No, you're fine. You'd get the results, typically handed to you by your superior, and then you'd get. They call it frocked. That's getting your new rank. Um, but since I passed my last one uh, for aviation ordnance, I got to play with bombs and guns. The fun stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I was going to be a rank higher plus the new job title, and so there's a
Okay.
different patch they give you for that. They give that to its award ceremony, so like graduation, stuff like that. Everyone that's receiving a new rank or anything like that, any special awards, the family and everybody, all your shipmates are there, so they all get to watch. So that part made me feel awesome, but my chief, or pretty much my one of my main guys in the my chain of command, my personal chain of command, he decided to pull all my stuff in front of everybody. So my CO
Wow.
handed me my information, said congratulations, and as I went to go take it and give my CO the salute, my chief reached over, handed him a piece of paper, and said, this is his new eval. He's not going to be promoted. Kind of just left the sour taste in my mouth, and I was, excuse the wording, but I was pissed and embarrassed. So
No, that's
instead of
completely
asking for a
understandable.
court,
That's crazy.
yeah, instead of asking for a court martial, which I should have did. I asked for a captain's mast. Sorry, but the
It's okay.
captain's mast is where everybody on my ship pretty much takes me to court. Um, court martial is a board of people that have no clue who I am. It's very impartial, and so I made the mistake in asking for one instead of the other. Because if I would have asked for the court martial, everybody, they don't know me. They would have looked at all
Right.
the facts. Well, he can't take the test without the eval, so why are you doing this in front of everybody? I would have eventually either gotten my rank and my new position and either probably moved to another ship or another duty station. Um, but instead, I got a trial by peers and ended up requesting to get out. I don't want
Right.
to be a
Okay.
glorified janitor. Essentially, that's what boats and mates, in my opinion, are, and that's what they were wanting me to be.
Right.
So
No, that's I, I guess when you've trained for something and you've wanted it all your life, it is like a kick in the teeth, I guess, and it's really, really demoralizing. Um, and I can see why
yeah,
you wouldn't want
definitely.
to. Yeah. Um, so when you left the military, did you know what you wanted to do? Was you like at a loss, or did you have a plan?
Now, uh, I was completely kind of lost, actually. I wasn't in very long, a little over 2 years, but it still kind of left like a blank page. Next step. Really didn't know what I wanted to do. All I know is I had to get a job and take care of my wife at the time and our daughter, and things took a dark turn after that. But
No, I can imagine. When you did leave, how long after leaving did you realize that that caused the PTSD? Like that the abuse, because it is abuse, that is abuse of power for one. Um, and I know like hazing is all fun and games until somebody gets hurt, but it's still abuse and it's still not nice and it is bullying.
there's certain hazing that I had fun with. It wasn't anything serious. It was. everyone went through it type of deal. But when they were starting to poke at my career and tear it down and make me feel less than, my worth,
Yeah.
that's where it started taking a toll on me. I didn't really realize, like I said, things took a dark turn after I got out. Um, I didn't realize for a few years, um, there are certain things that now that I look back on, after I talked to my therapist and everything, things were kind of pointing that direction, but with everything that was happening and unfolding relatively quickly after my departure, I got out in December 19th of 2008,
Right.
and hold on, and I want to say my wife at the time ran away in February with my daughter, and I was
Okay.
at work, and I get a phone call from my birth mom saying, or asking me if I've seen her, and she was gone, and my daughter was gone with her, and so I kind of raced home, and we just got about a foot of snow, so racing home in that, following her tracks, you know, I took a really deep fall, got into real heavy into alcoholism, and eventually got into drugs. So a lot of my thoughts and everything were clouded. I didn't realize probably for the past 4 years. That's 4 years ago is about when I realized there were certain idiosyncrasies that I had that could either dictate PTSD or autism. Actually, so
Right.
when I
Okay.
went to my primary care doctor at the VA, I asked for if I can talk to a therapist to see if they can test for autism because my oldest son, he has autism. My stepdaughter, she has autism. So, as I raised her, I started kind of seeing some of the things that she does in me. Um, some of my similarities to autism are, she specifically said, are strictly just PTSD. It's how my body's handling certain forms of stress, um, and anger, sadness. It's kind of like a whole melting pot of just emotions that kind of flood me at points in times, and how my
Yeah.
body handles it, or how my brain handles it. My body does certain things. So
And it's all stems from your brain anyway. If your brain's not working right as such, then it's going to affect absolutely everything anyway.
yeah,
Did um when you left the military, did they help you? Did they give you any advice, or did you they point you in the right direction to get help?
no.
That's really sad.
Unfortunately, that's kind of how. I mean, you can ask just about any veteran that's gone through anything serious. Uh, like I've known a few people that have had limbs removed. They've become quadriplegics. Uh, Other people with serious, forms of PTSD, from war or from seeing people die and stuff like that. And the amount of fight that they have to do to get things taken care of, and the hoops that we all have to jump through just to be taken care of
Yeah.
is, in my opinion, ridiculous. You know, everyone that joins the military is signing willingly to die for their country. And then when we get out, if we have any issues, health issues, we got to fight tooth and nail just to get compensated for it or even get the help that we need. Like for me, with the PTSD and everything, you would think since the VA classified me with PTSD um, from the military, and that was their doctor's judgment, uh, I would be getting compensated for that. I have to put in all the paperwork and do everything myself. no help. I mean, they do have people that will help you, but trying to get a hold of them or get a time with them, you're
I
winning
guess
the
it's
lottery
nearly
if you do.
impossible. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
The I don't really know too much about the VA. And so I'm very sorry if I sound like I'm asking dumb questions. Do they have like a support system? Like a I know you said you go to see a therapist, but is that through the VA or is that independently?
so depending on where you live, and on a sidebar, the saying that you feel bad because you don't know about something. Well, one thing I've always learned was the only dumb question is an unasked question. But back to what towards the question, they do have options. So like right now, I live in a metropolitan city. We have two VA hospitals, one ER, but so there's plenty of people within the VA in the areas that we are, and they do have all the necessary, help from like mental health, eyes, you know, primary care, surgery, everything. Pretty much anything that you could think of that a hospital should have, our two doctor's office hospitals have that.
Right,
But then there's places that you can live that don't have certain things. Like it's just a small outpatient, doctor's office type deal with your primary care doctors and stuff like that. That's when they outsource it. So
right.
if you need, let's say, you need to see your eyes, ears, and throat doctor or whatever uh,
Mhm.
for allergies or anything like that, and you're in a small town and their VA doesn't have it, they can outsource it to a doctor that's in the area that they work with, and then they pay for it.
Right.
So, like, if you don't live near a hospital or a VA hospital, you can go either to specific hospitals that are in um, their program or whatever they call it. I forget the actual term they use. Or you can go to like these emergency cares or urgent cares. There's specific urgent cares that you can go to, and when you go, they pay for everything. You don't pay anything because obviously it was more convenient for you to go there than driving however
Is it
far to the hospital.
is it kind of like, with insurance where you have the in-network and out-of-network kind of
Yeah,
thing?
sort of, but they call it something different specifically because like they won't pay anything if I just go to and like say my favorite ones out of their network, my favorite
Right,
urgent care, um, they don't care, so
right,
they won't pay anything on it. So you have to go specifically to their stuff, and it's essentially the same thing, but they just call it something a little different,
right, right.
or at least they did when I was talking to them, trying to figure that out.
I know you said that, when you got back, you managed to find it when you got out, sorry, you found a job, and then it wasn't long after that that your wife at the time left. If you don't mind me asking, did she leave because of your mental health the after coming out
No,
or
well,
okay,
personally, I think I changed a bit, but there's things that she doesn't know that I know. Um,
right,
so my attitude towards her changed a bit,
right,
um,
okay.
and
So
she
it's
just didn't
a
like
bigger
living.
picture kind
Oh yeah, uh,
of
a big picture. But
No, that's
I
fair.
honestly, with that addition of what happened, her leaving, I think that just kind of helped kickstart certain things, and then put my blinders on as well towards taking care of any mental health issues that I did have.
Yes.
And so this went on for about a decade after I got out, and like I said, about 4 years ago, I finally went through everything, and I got the diagnosis 3 years ago that I have PTSD. So
I think it's really, 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 really sad that you had to deal with it for that long before you knew actually what was going on? Because that must be so confusing for you as well, like, not really knowing exactly what's going on in your brain to make you feel like that.
I mean, there's certain aspects of it, yeah, that sucked, but I mean, ultimately, it was my choice. I knew something was out of whack. I wasn't just my typical old self like back in high school,
Yeah,
and I knew something changed, but I just blamed it on my past drug use and alcoholism and just all the drama that was going on in my life.
yeah,
And when I didn't have that drama and I separated myself from all of it, things became very clear that that wasn't, the reason. And a lot of times with a lot of vets, from what I've seen, if you ever get a chance to talk to, like, go to a VA, not a VA, a Legion or a VFW, you talk to some of the old timers there. A lot of them sit there and they just drink their pain away. They they don't get
yeah.
the help that they need, and that's kind of just where it's at. That's kind of the route I started taking for a while.
Well, I'm really glad that you found something and you figured out where it was and you're not continued down that path and, things did
Yeah.
manage to change and, hopefully for the better. Um
Oh yeah, definitely. Never thought I'd be getting married again, but you know, uh, I married and this is a weird way to say it, but my last two marriages, I married for the wrong reasons. I
Yeah,
rushed into things. Tried to, my second marriage was I try to be, the superhero and save her and her kids, and it wasn't a real marriage. So
do
to
you
actually, mm,
do you think that, please tell me if I'm speaking out of turn, do you think that because you did leave after a few years and you could have in your mind given more, that's why you wanted to rush in and be a superhero?
it's possible. I mean,
Because
I'm
in my head,
not.
if you join in the military, again, this is my take on it, nobody else's. If you join in the military, you're there because you want to save people, you want to save your country, you want to be the best you can. Um, so I guess you're saying that you rushed into this marriage to look after her and save her. That kind of makes me feel like you felt like you had unfinished business with the military, that you could have done more. Or you
I
expected that you
mean,
was going to do
that
more?
well, yeah. I mean, I could see that, and that's not something that I'm gonna sit here and say that's a definite no. A, it's above my pay grade, and I'm not that smart. But part of part of my superhero complex, I mean, I still have it to a bit, but a lot of it derives from my childhood. My birth mother used to beat me. She was a raging
Right,
alcoholic and a drug user. We never had a steady home, and I didn't meet my father until I was 15. Well, 14
right.
technically, and I moved up to Kansas City to live with them at 15. Um, so there's a lot of, like, ultimately, there's a lot to kind of unravel to get to where my superhero complex kind of comes in. But
Yeah,
I mean, that has never really been brought to the forefront in any of my therapist meetings. So it's actually a valid question, actually, because I knew when I went in that, after the first few months, I enjoyed it. After boot camp, besides being homesick, I actual boot camp. Um, and there's a lot of things that I wish I did better or differently, but I would have retired from the military because
yeah,
I missed the structure. I like working any job now. It's completely ruined. I see how things are, favoritism and all that. Yeah, it's in the military as well, but there's no structure, or the structure that they have is very minimal. Like even
Right.
where I work now, I work at a police department for in a call center,
Hmm.
taking all 911 calls. There's supposed to be structure in there, and there's
Yeah.
absolutely none at all. And it's very sad. And quite honestly, it makes me wonder about certain things. But ultimately, I mean, in my opinion, I think that if a lot of workplaces ran, their company or with the structure that the military has, I think things would be a lot smoother. People would feel a little more taken care of, respected. Because
Yeah.
ultimately, when that chain of command, when they notice things that are good and that everyone's performing well, the good things are always brought to the forefront to them, so they always know, hey,
Yeah.
we're doing good. They appreciate it. Chain of command's happy. We're happy, and it keeps going. Now it's people are always just kind of running through the motions.
Yes. Yes. I do think there needs to be a lot more done in the workplace. I'm not going to go too far into that, but I definitely think there's workplaces that need a lot more structure, exactly like you said.
Yeah.
When you um, decided to go to the therapist, did you just go with questions, or did you wait to see what they picked up first, or how did you feel doing that?
So I went in with questions, but I had to put them on hold because when I went in, my doctor asked me a few questions, and one of them was specifically what made me think that I have autism. Um, and I had a weird, uh, like, stemming situation or incident per se, at a restaurant, and it freaked me out. It's never happened before. I was pretty much stuck on the fact that this happened for about 2 hours. It blew my mind. And at that point, it's like, okay, I need to figure something out. I need to get things rolling. I need to figure out what's wrong with me. So it took about 4 to 5 months to actually get things rolling through the VA, and probably another 4 months or so to actually go see that doctor.
Right,
And so I did have time to create a lot of questions, but like I said, when I actually finally sat down with the therapist, they were doing an exam. They were testing for autism and PTSD and something else I forgot. But so she asked me. I told her about the stemming thing, and I gave her a little brief outlook of what happened, with my childhood and in the military and afterwards. So kind of a pre-military and post-military and during. And she then had me do a bunch of tests and all these other things. And um, about 2 weeks later, I got a call to come in, and she kind of explained everything, where her decision's coming from, and she diagnosed me with PTSD, not autism.
right.
So it was a very long, tedious, almost a year long thing, but it finally came through, and it made a lot of sense for a lot of things.
The autism, like with structure, I think that that's something that people with autism do need to extend. Don't Is that right? They they need
Certain
structure in their
so
life.
depending on where they are on the spectrum,
Hmm.
certain thing like structure just won't work. Other times it can work. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Uh,
It either needs to be exact or not at all, kind of thing.
yeah. I have to actually get my charger real quick. So if you hold
Yeah,
on.
sure, sure, of course. Let me. Do you ever do you ever write down everything? Like, have you ever, like, not like a dear diary kind of thing, just a this is how my life has gone from start to finish, like every little thing that's
Oh
happened.
no, I've tried, but So again, going back to the therapist, I've put up a lot of blockers. I've packed things
Right.
away, uh, compart
Compartmentalized.
that one. So
I think I still said it wrong.
put I've I've put everything away. I've buried a lot of issues, I guess you could say, and so a lot of memories are kind of fuzzy or completely lost to me at this point, which isn't really a bad thing. Forgetting a lot of these ones that put me through a lot of mental and physical pain, um, I don't mind to lose. The important ones that I do have made me, take the strides to become better. You
Right.
know, so I've learned over the years. I no longer use these other like a crutch. The woe me.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's more of empowerment at this point. I don't want to end up back in that darkness. I don't want to end up like my birth mom. I'm a
Yeah.
father, so I don't want to ever get to that point. I'm strict. That's the military. I'm OCD, so I expect things done to be done, the right way and correctly. And yeah, some people say it's my way, but I mean, as long as it's done correctly, I don't care, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not a matter of anything in a negative way. It's also, in my opinion, helping my kid to understand what life is going to be like when he becomes an adult, or he keeps saying he wants to get a job, doing things, half-assed, or being lazy, or having to be asked to do every single little thing. No job's going to keep him around,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So I'm trying to teach him and have him understand the value of not kissing butt, but just doing things that need to be done without being asked to do it.
Yeah.
It's going to make a whole world of difference when you go to school, in relationships, pretty much just your day-to-day life, being able to just get it done.
Since you, other than the therapist, are there any other techniques or coping mechanisms that you use that you've found help, or is it mainly the therapist? Wait, did
So this is going back.
was you going to yoga at one bit?
Yoga, yes, not for stress. I mean, it
Oh,
helped a
okay.
little bit, but it was for my back problems.
Oh, okay.
It was to kind of try to alleviate. So the VA likes to go through all these different trial things before they go to serious or to the bigger. Um, like obviously, I'm 26 years old. I don't want to have to go through back, or sorry, 36 years old. I don't want to go through back surgery.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean? So they're gonna try to do other things. They started off with yoga, chiropractor, stuff like that.
right,
Um, so they want to do the least invasive to the more invasive type deal.
right.
If things don't get better, and it kind of
Yeah,
worked, but my schedule just didn't allow me for
yeah.
to continue.
I'm sorry, I completely interrupted with that. Did you say that
Yeah,
you
it's fine.
had any other coping mechanisms other than the
Oh
therapist? Was there
yeah.
anything else you found?
So besides like when I talked to my therapist, and this is gonna sound corny, um, but Kelsey, my fiance, she's helped me out with a lot of things. She's helped me in ways I didn't really think were possible of like a significant other. It's never
Yeah.
happened before, so it was kind of very new. Um, I don't know. It was nice to actually have backup, if that makes any sense.
Oh, 100%, it makes sense. Absolutely 100%. And going back to Kels, she is one of the strongest people that I know without realizing that she's one of the strongest people I know. And I'm sure that you're going to agree with me on that because
Hmm.
I'm sure
Trying
for
to tell
her as
her that
well.
is,
Oh, she won't
I
listen.
mean,
She won't listen.
nope. It's like talking to a wall. But
She's
I try to tell her as often as I can without sounding like a broken record that she's amazing, she's smart, she's strong, and that she's done a lot for me.
yeah,
And she does, I don't even think she realizes or can comprehend the amount of actual help that she has put me through without even trying. It's just
yes,
like almost that's her superhero complex. She's just doing it, not even thinking about it. And I couldn't be more grateful, you know.
yes. I think was this something I spoke to Kelsey about? I think it might have been when I did the podcast with Kels. We was talking about listening and just being that person that you can just. What do you want from me today? Do you want to moan at me? Do you want my opinion? Do you want me to just listen? And I think she is great at that. And I think sometimes, especially in your situation, that's what you need is someone to say, "Hey, do you want me to give you my opinion, or do you want me to sit and listen to you?" And I think that's
Yeah,
a great thing to
she's
have.
good at listening to like me and my problems or other people's problems, but when it comes to like communication, I think she's going through some of the same things I did. I didn't really have anybody I can talk to without hearing grief or like,
Yeah,
you know, negative reinforcement in a way.
yeah,
There's things that I still need to work on. Like I need to be able to just shut up and listen with if she just says she needs to just vent, I need just to be able to sit there and take it all in. And
yeah.
then if she wants my opinion, I can tell her afterwards. I try to always fix things. I
You're
try
a
to always
fixer.
like, yeah, I end up, I'll cut her off often and be like, no, that's not true. You know, you're better than this, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And she's not asking for that. She just wants someone to listen. So that's something that I've been working on and still probably will continue to work on forever because it's important to have that two-way communication. But she can give advice, can't really take it. I know
Yeah,
where she's coming from. Used to be me. So I mean, I see me certain little quirks that I had that she has.
yeah. No, it's
So
good though that you
you
can.
know,
It's good to have someone that you can lean on when you need them. Um, I think that's one of the best things about having a person is that they are there and you can talk to them, especially when it is someone who sees you every day and she can see the difference that you're doing every day, like little steps and things. She'll know. She'll notice. She'll notice before you do. So that's cool.
I think she does. Half the time she says certain things, and it's like, huh, and it doesn't quite register with me, and it's, oh, see what you did there.
That's why she's saying that. Yeah. She's very good at that. Did you find that there were any triggers or situations that made things worse? Or was it just a constant?
No, it's a trigger thing for me. Um, so some people with their PTSD, they like fireworks, you know, loud bangs, like sounds like gun firearms.
Yeah.
That tends to strike theirs, and they get put to a panic mode.
Yeah.
Guns, I've been around guns, you know, most of my life, so the guns has never been an issue for me. But working in the warehouse industry for about 15 years now, people take like a full pallet and they'll just drop it on the floor, and there's a loud smack. If I'm not expecting it, it does get me kind of like jumpy.
Yeah.
Um, or like, well, my main trigger is um, confrontation. So I don't like it. It's
No.
it brings me flashbacks and stuff like that, and I shut down a lot, and that I've worked on it, and I've gotten to the point where I don't shut down as much or as hard. Um, but again, that's kind of where my I need to fix things comes in now. So that's
Yeah.
become more predominant than me shutting down completely. So it's like I need to find that happy balance instead of one, you know, over the other. So it used to be I just shut down completely. I wasn't willing to try to fix anything until I was ready, and that could be, a day, 2 days, a week. Um,
Yeah.
and I've been on my well, it took about a year or so to kind of figure out what medicine regimen that I needed to be on that best benefited not just me but everybody around me. Um,
Yes.
and there was a few that I didn't know who I was, so I had to get off those immediately. And we finally found one that kind of makes the noise quiet down.
Yeah.
So kind of working on that one. They still have a little bit more tinkering to do, but I'm stable at the point where I can function. I'm not stressing to the point of, you know, me going back to drinking 24/7, becoming an alcoholic, and drugs, like all the things that I used to do to cope. I'm able to think things through. I'm able to function, normally. And honestly, to me, it's helpful, but there's certain things that, like I said, we're still kind of trying to figure out everything um, through the doctors because one thing in my depression and my PTSD has been fixed. Now there's another thing that's kind of attacking my depression, and it's weight gain. I've
Right.
weighed the heaviest I've ever weighed in my life because of the medicine and you know things like that. So that part really depresses me, and that's put me in a different kind of like mode.
Yeah, and I guess working in a call center never helps with weight either because you're physically not doing anything. So that
It would be, it'd be different if me and Kelsey worked the same shift and had the
yes,
same days off. Um, but with her working, from basically 2 to 10, and I work from 10 to 6 in the morning. She's up while I'm sleeping. She's at work while I'm awake. She's sleeping while I'm at work, so
yeah,
we don't see each other a lot. So there's like an imbalance. Like instead of going to work out or doing anything like that, we try to spend as much time together as we can when we can.
that makes sense.
So
And this is only a short term thing anyway. I know like you are both looking for new jobs and looking for a new place when you do move anyway. So it's short term for long term gain, I guess. So
well, yeah. I mean,
fingers
I start
crossed.
my new job on the first, um,
Oh, that's cool.
going back into the warehouse industry, but I can lose weight there, but the pay is a little bit better. Kind of back to being by myself, where I don't have to deal with the extra stress, of people that like to abuse the system. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah. Would you know what you know now? Would you do anything different with the military? Would you
A lot of it.
still,
Hmm.
yeah,
My life would be a whole lot different. Like if I can go back with the knowledge that I have, um, there'd be a lot of things I would have changed, and unfortunately, that would have made you know certain things not have happened. I probably wouldn't have gotten married the 2 times that I did, which in turn would probably mean my kids, you know, wouldn't be with those moms. But I always had this feeling that when you have a child, that kid's meant to be your child. So whoever
yeah,
you have that child with, you're going to eventually have them, but just with the right person, if that makes any sense. Um,
hmm,
but there's just a lot of things that kind of I'm glad things went the way they did to a point. There's things that I wouldn't want to change, but I can't, have both.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of
I guess
those,
you got so
where
much.
my
Go ahead.
where my life is at this current point in time, I wouldn't switch it. But before, about 4 years ago, definitely, I would have changed everything just to try to be a better father, be a better person, and just to have my shit together. You know,
Yeah.
um, I would have stood up for myself more when need be. Just, there's a lot that would have been different.
I guess you're still young and the kids are still young, so you've got plenty of time to make those change. Well, you've already started, and give the kids exactly what they need and everything that you and Kelsey need going forward as well. So you've done everything the right way and you found things at the right time. So that's always a positive as well. Should be really proud of what you've done so far.
I tried to be.
Would you have any advice for anyone who is thinking about transitioning out, or anyone who has PTSD or is suffering right now and doesn't know what to do?
Reach out, find anybody that you know can help. Talk to your primary care doctors. Anything. You just don't sit idly by and waste away. Um, it's never going to end well.
Right.
You end up ruining professional, personal, relationships, friendships. It all can be ruined at a blink of an eye, and you won't know until it happens. So if you have PTSD, or you feel you have PTSD, or you don't feel like you're yourself, 100% talk to anybody. Reach out, strive to get the help that you need. You may not be one for taking meds to make you feel better, and certain, you might be, your therapy might be physical activity, going to the gym, but talk to somebody as well, because bottling things up and it isn't going to help. And that's one thing that, is becoming blatantly aware, or is making a lot of people blatantly aware of these days. For men, it is very difficult. We are not raised or built to talk about our feelings. Well, most of us. I was raised by women, so I kind of got lucky. I can talk about my feelings, and I have that emotional side to me. I mean, hell, I cry at sad rom coms. So, it's just one of those weird things about me. But most men, they don't they don't understand or know how to talk to people or reach out for help, because from my experience and from theirs, nobody cares. They really don't. Some people say they do, but for the most part, we're left in the dark. We're forgotten. You know, so we have to be the ones that take that step forward. I've talked to a few of my friends prior, and I try to help. I try to guide. I try to do everything I can. But you can't. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. Type of deal. Um, it's really all you can do. So advice would be, drink the water. Find that help. Find what helps you. Everyone's different. Everyone's gonna have a different mechanism, but that mechanism, that way to out your stress and out your worries and make you you again, it's out there, regardless of what you think you know or don't know. It's the help is there. There's something that can be done to help you.
And you don't know what it is or what's out there until you talk about it.
exactly. There's more options out there than I ever knew. I mean,
Yeah.
I always thought me being, playing games at my age, video games. Um, I just thought that was just a weird, nerdy thing, like uh, part of my childhood I didn't want to give up, but it's ironically, it's um, a decompressant. You know,
Yes.
it's reminds me of safe times, good times. I have fun, and there's just with certain things like people wouldn't think that that's not a therapeutic outage. It is. I
And
have
I would
snakes,
probably,
so that's
yeah, I would probably have said a few years ago that I was probably one of those people who thought gaming isn't an outlet until I met Kyle. And we all know that Kyle's a huge gamer. I like board games. And I think that I didn't see video gaming the same as I did board games until I looked at it more. Because I always saw the social aspect of board games, and I never really saw video games as a social aspect because I played the like one player games when I was a kid, or
yeah,
multiplayer, but it's with your sisters or your siblings and your parents. I didn't
yeah.
really
Things have
see,
changed.
yeah, and show my age now. Um, but until I actually sat and spoke to Kyle, and he explained how the video games is his connection to his friends, because America's a big place and your friends are all over the country, and you can't just run to a bar when your friends are all over the place, and you don't always want to run to a bar. Just turning on the games console and chatting is enough.
Yeah, I mean, games nowadays they've gotten so toxic, but you do end up finding the few people that you do make kind of like a long time connection with. I have
Hmm.
Kelsey's talked to a few of them. She plays, with them whenever we're both on. We tend to play games together, even if they're not multiplayer. We'll just sit next to each other and we'll just game together.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so it's nice to have that in a spouse. Like it's not a nagging. Oh, spend time with me. It's like, when I try to or whatever, but it's nice that we can actually like do things together, and she understands, I understand, so we have that connection with ourselves, but then we also do have our friends that we can talk to when we play certain games, and
Yeah.
they're not toxic. We all have fun, we laugh, and they live states away.
Yeah.
I think they're about 10 hours away from us.
So you're not going to just meet up for an hour or two.
Yeah.
It's not it's not feasible. It's stupid. So, um, do you have any final thoughts before I wrap up?
No, not
Okay.
really. Just people that have this issue just need not to give up. Find someone that you can talk to, someone you can vent to, find your rock.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I am gonna wrap up there. Again, thank you, Tom, for coming. I didn't expect you to be as open as you was, so thank you. If anyone is struggling or does have any issues, if you need to find resources, please, please, please reach out. I know, like I say, I'm not from a military background, but if there's anything I can do to help, or if I can help you find resources, I'm always here. Um, and until next time, thank you for listening.